Hey friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to a brand new discussion vlog. Today I've got a great topic I'd like to share with you guys and discuss and talk about. It's one that's been in my mind for the past couple of years. I've actually discussed this with a few different buddies, including my buddy Dean. Him and I have had some really good discussions about this topic, and I thought it would make for a great video, as I've not really heard too many people talk about this topic much at all, especially here on YouTube, and I thought it would just make a great video. I would love for you guys to participate, so feel free to leave a comment. I do enjoy reading your guys' comments. I know some people have said, oh, sorry, I leave a long comment. It's good. I leave really long comments myself, and I love reading them. Now, this might be one of those topics where you feel that it would be better to film a video response, because it might be easier for you to be able to discuss more on this topic, so feel free to upload a video response. I love watching your guys' video responses. You guys have left some really amazing ones to my previous discussion videos in the past, and I always love checking them out. I just ask you, please let me know about them so that I can check it out, and then I will post a link to that video as a comment on my video so other people can check it out as well. And that topic I want to discuss today is social media addiction and its effect on gaming and collecting. Now, I have met a guy in this past few months, like half a year or so. We've become friends on here. His name is Gamertag, and he's had a really good series talking about addiction and his own personal struggles with it and how it affected his gaming and collecting and YouTube channel. And he's had some really great, interesting videos. And I thought, I never heard him talk about this topic of social media addiction as far as it goes to gaming. And I thought, this would make a great video to discuss. And so I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on it, and I'm going to share with you guys some of my own struggles with it and things that I've observed, and just how social media has affected myself and gaming and collecting over the past 10 years. So, first off, I do enjoy social media like YouTube. I used to be very active in Facebook gaming groups. There was quite a few. I was part of hundreds of them, just so many of those. And it was just really awesome finding a place to meet people who shared my passion and love for gaming. Because I don't have too many people locally here who are into the old retro games and the collecting and stuff. And so that's where years ago I started reaching out online. And I had started watching videos on YouTube of people who were talking about and enjoying the same kind of stuff that I was, which is old video games. And it was really cool to finally find people and connect with people who were into the same stuff I was. And that was one of the great things about the internet, as it has been a great way for us to connect with each other and find people who like the same things you do without having to literally be in the same room or live in the same city as you, as I didn't know too many people here locally who were really into this stuff. I had a few friends, that have enjoyed playing games, but they weren't really into collecting and gaming like I was. They were into either the modern stuff or weren't really into gaming too much. So it was really interesting finding people on YouTube, and that's why I originally created my channel, just as a way for me to save my favorite creators' channels so that I could go and check out their videos when they'd upload. And I had a few different buddies who said, hey, you ought to start, talking about your own stuff and sharing what you're finding. And so that's how my channel started out, where I started sharing with everyone my journey of building up my game collection, sharing my pickups and stuff. And I started doing, collection videos and sharing the games I had. And it was great having the feedback from people, talking about what games they loved playing, talking about the games they're collecting, and remembering, oh, I remember playing this on the Super Nintendo. Oh yeah, I liked it. I remember playing stuff on Game Boy and Nintendo 64, and then even talking about the current games that were out. And it's always been a really fun aspect. And then I eventually, joined Facebook, and people from YouTube that I was friends with were telling me, hey, you ought to join some of these game groups. There's one specifically for Xbox, there's PlayStation groups, there's Sega groups, there's collecting groups overall, there's guys with collector edition groups where they all talk about collector's editions and stuff. And so I started joining these various groups, and it was really great because I was finding more and more people who were into stuff that I was into. Was a great source of information as people were sharing things that they have found or discovered, you know, some lost treasures and artifacts and stuff. And the one that I was really intrigued with was the original Xbox, as it's my favorite console of all time. Absolutely love the console, and it was actually Halo on the original Xbox that got me into the Xbox, and I just have loved the console ever since, and really got into wanting to collect for the original Xbox, that So I started my goal to work on getting a complete North American original Xbox set. And at the time when I was working, I only knew of like maybe 4 or 5 people who were into the same goal. And I had found some old posts on a forum website of some dude who archived and cataloged his journey to a complete set, and showed a bunch of the pictures of what the collection looked like, and some of the various variants and collector's editions that were available, and different things in the journey that he was going down, which was pretty cool finding that information. And as I was going for this set, you know, I started to make a lot of friends online and in the Facebook groups and stuff, and it was just really great sharing my journey with the complete original Xbox set. And I eventually did get that set complete, but I eventually started getting a little crazy as far as the original Xbox collecting goes, as I started getting into like collecting variants and stuff and promotional items, and I was discovering a lot of information that had been lost because Microsoft itself had lost some computers and hard drives and stuff had crashed years ago, and a lot of stuff wasn't documented very well for the original Xbox. And so I started doing a lot of research online, and I started buying these various variants and stuff, and more and more people were starting to get interested in the original Xbox in these groups, and I started noticing more people were, hey, I want to get into collecting a complete original Xbox set as well, and oh, I'm starting to go after the variants and stuff. And you know, eventually it started to just like take over my life as far as like going after these variants. You know, I started, okay, so this game has a version that comes with a bonus comic book. I want to get that one. But then there's also this one that comes with a bonus CD, and this one came with a bonus game of another game that came with it, or it came with a demo CD of it, or this one had a little sticker on it. And it was just constantly posting about the stuff I was finding, and it was people responding well to, oh, that's awesome, that's so awesome. And, you know, you start getting those dopamine hits from posting in these groups. And it's been shown in studies, they've been doing studies recently showing about how, like, screen time and playing through with stuff on social media and how it affects your mind and your brain, and how, you know, makes you feel good, and you feel that dopamine hit in your head, and you just like that feeling. And so I had started, you know, just like sharing all the stuff I was finding, and I'd make a post, get a bunch of interaction with it, and people loved it, it felt great. But, you know, then that thing would wear off, and so then you'd have to post about the next thing you found to get that same hit of dopamine again. And you don't even realize it at the time, like, you know, you're buying and buying and buying and collecting and sharing, so you can keep feeling that same way. But you know, you end up finding out, like, Jesus, you know, I've bought like 100 different variant things just for this collecting and to show off to people online. So I get that dopamine hit of like, yeah, high five, buddy, you did a good job, and you feel great. And, you know, I just had to finally just like stop doing that, because I was seeing myself just spending money I didn't need to be spending. You know, you're getting multiple copies of a game. Like, the one game I have the most copies of is 26 copies of the Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring game for the original Xbox, because I wanted to get a set of trading cards that came into specially packed copies. And I actually took all the time, it took quite a while to track down all the cards for that set, and I got that as a, you know, as a variant set. Like, nobody needs to be collecting all those cards. You know, just having one copy of the game is good enough, but I wanted to have all that and went a little crazy with it. But eventually, you know, I just had to stop doing that, because, you know, I was just focusing on the stupid variants, and then really just focusing on collecting just so I can, you know, share what I was finding with other people, just to get a good interaction and, you know, getting those dopamine hits and stuff. But, you know, it just can lead you down to a dark path of becoming addicted to this and spending money you don't have, and can affect relationships and stuff. And so it started out for me just being a really fun hobby, and just fun on social media, especially these Facebook groups. But I had noticed that the groups had started changing, and more people started becoming more addicted to like the pickup posts, and how people were starting to brag more about the things they were finding, and sometimes the stories would get a little outlandish from what they were finding. And, you know, I would notice that some of these groups had changed from, you know, was just from people being really passionate about the games to just, you know, constantly the whole group was just completely focused on just the buying aspect and people showing off what they're finding. You know, guy A, you know, found an original Xbox for $40 at the thrift store. Then another guy's got to make a post of how he found 2 Xboxes at a thrift store, and started noticing that people seem to care more about the buying aspect and showing off than actually talking about the games that they were playing. And I had noticed since my own posts, like I would make a post, let's say I picked up 5 Xbox original games, and I'd get a bunch of comments on there and a bunch of interaction. Then I'd make another post about games I was playing. Let's say I'd pick like, oh, I'm talking about a racing game or something, and I noticed I'd have less interaction with it, and people seem to be more concerned with the pickups and the stuff that people were buying. And so I actually had left quite a few of the gaming groups in the past several years, as it just seemed, you know, people seemed to care way too much about the buying aspect and collecting and showing off than it was about the actual games itself and enjoying and loving gaming. You know, it's the whole reason why we have this hobby is, you know, you want to collect these games, we also want to play them, but it seemed like too many people were into the whole just showing off and didn't really seem to like they actually cared about the games themselves. And I had people approaching me about how they wanted to go for complete original Xbox set, and I would ask them, you know, like, well, why do you want to go for it? Is there a reason why? Like, I went for it because it's my absolute favorite console of all time, and I just thought it'd be really awesome to get a complete set. I also did it years ago when it was dirt cheap. You know, people didn't really care about the original Xbox, so some of the most expensive games now, which still, when compared to other consoles, aren't the most that they can be, but, you know, $100, $200 for titles. You know, I was getting these games for quarter, 50 cents, $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, you know, just no one really cared about the original Xbox. Well, in the last like 4 or 5 years, you know, Xbox has really exploded in people collecting for it. I've seen so many people who want to go for a complete set now that didn't in the past, and some people who are going after the variants as well, and I've just seen people doing it just for the simple fact because they saw other people doing it online. You know, I'd ask them like, well, why do you want the original Xbox? Oh, I don't know. I never really liked Xbox, but I saw your videos and your posts and stuff the past year and stuff. It just seemed really cool. Like it'd be a fun thing to do. So I'm going after a complete original Xbox collection. And I'd see some of these people just constantly posting, going crazy, like trying to catch up, you know, because there's like almost like 1,000 games in the original Xbox North American complete set. And then if you add variants in that, you start getting to like a 12 and 1,300 number. But I saw people were just spending tons of money there. They're sharing like, you know, I bought this group of games and this group of games. I'm at 100. Okay, I'm at 200 games. I'm at 300 games and 400 games. Like it was a marathon of them having to run and get all this stuff right away, and just seeing how much money they were dropping, and just was crazy. It was just like, I just had to leave some of those groups behind because it just became too much about the showing off aspect and stuff. That's what I've seen on Reddit and stuff, so I don't really get into Reddit much at all because a lot of those collecting groups on there just seem to be more about bragging and stuff. You know, you would see posts all the time of people showing, oh, I went to Goodwill and I got all this stuff for $5, and I went to this thrift store and got this price, and I went to this yard sale and got it for this price. And I would see this similar thing on Instagram as well, of people just posting in these groups about the things they were finding, and people are just posting it so they can get that dopamine hit off of it. You know, oh, it just feels good. You know, people like, yeah, that's awesome, dude, you did a great job. Holy crap, you got that $100 game for $5. Woo! You know, but that feeling only lasts for so long, and then you got to go out and get the next best thing to collect and show off, so you can get that hit again, then it wears off and you got to get it again and again, and it's just a vicious cycle that just feeds itself, and you just continually are buying stuff just so you can share it with people on the internet and get validation from strangers on the internet. And it's a really dangerous thing, and it's definitely an addiction that people have. And we were talking to my buddy Dean, that yes, people do get addicted to buying video games, but nobody ever looks at the aspect of they're buying, the reasons why they're buying it. If nobody was at your house seeing your game collecting, are you buying it for that? Or are you buying it because, you're addicted to sharing it with people online, and you want to show off the stuff that you're finding, and you want to be told you're doing a great job. And I've seen people who've just gotten really obsessed with it and almost destroy their life. I had a buddy, I shared this story before in the past, that he really got into game collecting and going into thrift stores constantly, that he almost lost his relationship with his girlfriend, which he is now married to. It was a few years ago he reached out to me. I hadn't heard from him in a long time, saying that he had sold off all his video game collection, and he went cold turkey away from gaming in the hobby for a while, but he eventually got back into it with a newer modern console with a handful of games. And when he reached that final rock bottom place where he was at, he was spending his rent money, grocery money on constantly buying games and wanting to keep up with people that he was seeing posting stuff and posting himself. And he was going to thrift stores 3 and 4 and 5 times a day. I mean, he was using his lunch hour at work to go to the local Goodwills by him, and he started, going once, and it was going twice, and he was going to a bunch of them, trying to cram into his lunch. He was actually going to work, coming back on break late, and his boss started telling him, like, dude, your lunch is an hour, you can't be going an hour and 10, an hour and 20 minutes. And he'd mentioned how he was like constantly worried that someone else was going to find the deals over him at these thrift stores. If he didn't go, he was going to miss out on them, because he was so obsessed with the hunting aspect and then wanting to show off to people online. And his girlfriend literally said, well, either it's gaming or it's going to be me. You're going to have to choose. And he took that to heart and finally stopped himself and said he sold it off and got himself into a better place. And he gave me permission to share this story. I'm not going to tell his name or what his old YouTube channel used to be, but, it was definitely scary that seeing somebody that I knew, like how they were affected by game collecting and the addiction of it, and the addiction with the social media aspect, because it's so easy to find people who will encourage you to do collecting. People will come out and say, like, oh, I don't know if I should buy a Genesis. You'll have 20 people there. Oh yeah, dude, you gotta buy the Genesis, man. Yeah, just buy it. Yeah, but it's kind of like, oh, who cares? Just spend the money, man. Get a credit card. Put it on credit. Buy it, man. You're gonna love it. You gotta play this game. And it is, an addiction sometimes, with the social media aspect, where we're just so consumed with it, and it's just right there, it's just easily accessible. You can easily find anything you want and find people who are like-minded to you, which there's good things, but there's also been bad things with it as well. I've seen people who are just creating videos on YouTube just simply for the fact of wanting to show off, and people have admitted how they were just buying things literally because they saw someone else pick up a game. And you watch a big YouTuber and he's talking about all the games he's buying, so now you're buying them because he says they're a good game, and that can be good. You can discover games like that, but sometimes you can get yourself consumed with buying games just because other people are buying them. Oh, well, if this guy buys it, I should buy it too, and this other person's buying this game, so I should buy that game. And you can really get stuck in this loop of just buying and stuff just because other people are buying it, and you want to be a part of it as well. And so it's definitely something you have to watch out for with social media. Another thing too is like how crazy sometimes a game can go in price. A person can make a video about a hidden game, or they mention, like, say, like a game's delisted. Like a great example this year is when Spec Ops: The Line got delisted at the end of January. people started writing some articles about it, and people started making videos that, hey, you better go grab this game before the prices skyrocket. And it went from like a $5 to $10 game to like literally overnight it was $200, man. People were going on eBay. They scarfed up all the copies of it, and they were relisting them for $150 and $200 for a copy. And a few sold, but quite a few didn't. You know, people actually held to their guns and didn't pay the prices, so they had to lower the prices. And it's been sitting around like that $50 and $60 mark. And that's a direct result of social media. Another one I've seen in the past has been like if a GameStop has a certain sale, or a sale that they aren't really talking big about, somebody will make a video like, hey, you got to get these hidden gems, or it's crazy, some of these new games are on clearance, and someone will make a video and they pick up like 100 games from GameStop, and they're all clearance for $2 or $5 and $10, and these games this sale is on. And it's crazy how quickly that spreads like a virus just all over the place, and you just start seeing all these posts and videos of people going to their own GameStops and cleaning out the areas, and people telling you like, I run to 15 GameStops to get deals. I know there was this Toki Retro Collector Edition for the Nintendo Switch, where there was a big box version that maybe you were able to build your own little arcade and set the Switch in there so it looked like a Toki arcade machine. And GameStop had clearance these to $5. I saw somebody post on Facebook in one of the gaming groups about it, and I thought, oh, that was cool. And so I went to a local GameStop, and I picked up a copy for brand new for $5 because, you know, hey, they have it on clearance. And I'm really glad that I got it, because the GameStops literally sold out that week of those, and people were going all over the country just grabbing them all up. And it's crazy how just a video can do that or a post can really make something just go viral and make everybody go after it. So I've seen a lot of those posts. And so that's kind of one of those things that if you want to get something, a deal from like a GameStop has, is if a bunch of people hear about it, it just spreads like crazy, and everybody starts hitting them up, and they literally clear them out of all the stuff they have. And so you have to be really quick about it. But that's just another, you know, shows that, like, you know, the influence that social media has on the gaming hobby and the collecting aspect. And that's why I had created my goal to start playing the games in my collection and to stop focusing so much on the buying aspect, because there were times in the past where I was buying stuff just for the fact of it was cheap, and I wanted to share with people the stuff I was finding, you know, because you're feeling great because of those dopamine hits. It's like, yeah, man, you're awesome. But, you know, after a while, it wears off, and then you got to find the next thing. And that's the same thing even when we have our, like, holy grails in gaming. You know, there's something you really want, and the thing is with us humans, you know, we want things. But once we actually obtain the item that you want, you know, it no longer seems to hold as much value to us as it did when we really wanted it. And you put it really high on a pedestal. Like, we could just use this Terminator game as an example. Like, I really wanted this, and when they announced it, you know, I was excited for a couple of months before it came out. You know, I'm just like, oh man, I can't wait till it comes out. I can't wait till I can get it. It's going to be awesome when I get it. But then when you finally obtain the item, you know, eventually the dopamine you get from buying it and having it eventually wears off, and then you end up deciding, well, I got to go after the next thing and the next thing. And so it just leads to a cycle of you just constantly wanting to go get those dopamine hits. And it's just how we are as humans in our nature of wanting to have things. But then once we actually obtain it, it's not as amazing as it felt before. So it's kind of like, you know, that thrill of chasing the hunt. I mean, that's why I do like going game hunting myself, because you just never know what you're going to find. But you can get addicted to that of just wanting to go out constantly and buy and sell and just go crazy with the collecting part. And so that's why I created my goal of wanting to play more games in my collection. And then I decided to do a purge of my collection, and I got rid of a lot of games. I got rid of like 1,000 titles, mostly just a bunch of sports games and junky kids games. I started getting rid of doubles that were in my collection. Like, do I really need to have The Witcher 3 on PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One? Do I need to have a racing game like a Need for Speed on GameCube, PlayStation 2, and the original Xbox? I started looking at that kind of stuff, and it just games that I just wasn't really into, some old kiddie games that I had picked up, that are just, you know, just games you were finding for cheap, you know, just buying them because, oh, hey, they're cheap, cool, let's buy them, let's buy them, let's buy them, let's buy them. And it's like, you know, that's a waste of money just buying a bunch of crap games just so you can share it with others online. And so that's where I had to curate the collection and start getting away from that and playing more games. And I've not been really active at all the past couple of years on Facebook in the gaming groups. I once occasionally will post or something and I'll check it out, but pretty much the only social media I'm really interactive with is on YouTube these days. And it's just, you know, my channel, and I enjoy filming videos for you guys, and I enjoy interacting and leaving comments and stuff, but a lot of people have noticed that my pickup videos are a lot less every year, and that's because, you know, there's just a lot less games that I want to get, and I'm really happy with the collection that I have built up. And it's more about me wanting to talk about the games I'm playing and discuss things with you guys than it is just buying and showing off the games, because it's just so easy to get stuck into that loop and mindset again of just sharing with people. And, you know, it's definitely not a place I'd like to go back to at all, and not something I would enjoy being addicted to again, is like the social media part. You know, I got to keep it for the fun. Like what I originally started with, it was connecting with people, you know. It wasn't about showing off and saying that I'm better than somebody, because I've seen posts of that where, like, basically people are trying to brag that they're better because they found X game for this price. And there's even people who've created fake videos or fake posts about stuff that they were buying, or lying about the prices, lying that they got a better deal because they wanted to say that they were better than someone else. And, oh, well, I found 5 Pokemon games. Oh, yeah, well, I found 10, so I'm better, and I'm buying this, and you bought an Xbox, so I bought 5 Xboxes. And it's just interesting, like, how social media's had an effect on our gaming and collecting. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. So, guys, if you guys have any interactions, if you guys had any addiction at all with social media that caused you, you know, to maybe buy stuff that you shouldn't. You know, you watch the video and, oh, that's cool, I should buy that game, I should buy that game, I should buy this, I should get this, oh, this guy has this, that looks cool, I should add that to my collection. I don't know if I'll play it or not, but hell, he bought it, I should buy it. You know, I'd love to know your guys' interaction that you guys have had with social media, and if you guys have had any issues with addiction with it, or if it's affected your gaming or collecting at all. Definitely did mine in the past, especially with the Xbox variant collecting. You know, I was just going crazy with just the slightest thing. Oh, this one has a disc art that's a little bit different, and this one has a sticker of the logo that says it was a 8 out of 10 on Game Pro or something. You know, it's like, you know, if you look hard enough, you know, you can always find something else to collect for, and you can let it consume you and just get obsessed with those dopamine hits of sharing it with people who are like, hey, yeah, you're doing a good job. But they only last so long until you got to find the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I've just seen that happen. And so that's why I left a bunch of the groups and really started limiting how much I was accessing social media too. Because I was also spending hours and hours on Facebook groups and interacting with people, and on YouTube just watching tons and tons of videos, you know, just letting it consume me, to where now I have it as a nice healthy balance where I'm on YouTube filming my videos and I watch other people's videos, but I don't let it consume my life, and I'm definitely not letting it dictate the games and experiences that I have with my collection. You know, got to keep it that healthy balance with gaming. Like with anything, too much of anything in life is can be bad for you. But that's just what I've noticed with social media. Is it seems that so many of the people that are collecting and sharing today are really into the showing off part of it, and it doesn't really seem like they really care about the games they're buying. You know, they just want people to tell them, hey, you did a good job, and that's awesome and amazing, and leave a like and thumbs up on the video or on your post and say you did a good job. And I've just seen some people go down that path, and that's why I had to leave a bunch of those groups, because it seemed people didn't care about the actual games themselves. It was more exciting to show off to strangers, and I've seen people fighting on posts and stuff on Facebook and stuff. So I was like, yeah, I don't really want to be involved in that drama and that craziness. And so I just distanced myself from that. And like I said, I mostly just focus now here on YouTube and talking about and sharing the games and getting back to my love and passion for gaming, and not letting myself become addicted to the social media aspect, which there's good things, there's bad things. It's amazing. I've discovered so many games I never heard of. I created my weekly gaming playlist series that I share with you guys each week of the games I'm playing, and I've had a lot of great feedback with that. A lot of people told me that it's encouraged them to play more games in their collection. I've had people telling me about the games they're playing, so that gives me an idea of a game like, oh, hey, I played this new RPG, and they explain it, and oh, that looks cool, and so I add it to my list and I play it. I ask people to recommend games to me as well, like, hey, you should play this game, it's really fun, and they explain it, and I've discovered some good stuff. So there's some really good stuff and good aspects to social media and stuff. Helps you connect with people who love what you love, because you might not always find people locally. Like, I don't have a lot of people here locally and local friends that are into the gaming, but I've got a lot of great buddies, like my buddy Dean and Nick T. Wolf. A newer one has been IRL Retro Gamertag. Him and I talked about some gaming stuff here on YouTube. I watched his channel. He's been watching my videos. There's been a lot of good people over the year, too. There's several of them that don't even make videos anymore. I don't know what's happened to them, but I used to love interacting with them. I've made great trades here with people, over 50 trades. I've traded games with other people. It's been really cool. Poop Ninja, he has a new channel, MA Gamer, another guy that I've been friends with for many years here on YouTube. I've made a lot of good friends, a lot of great people, some people that I've met through Xbox Live and stuff that I've talked to on Facebook and stuff. So I've had some really good interactions with social media and gaming, but I've also had some addiction to it and some bad parts of it that led me to just buying stuff. And so just keeping it in a balance is key. And that's just what I've noticed with social media. And I just thought it'd be an interesting topic to discuss with you guys and just share my own personal experience with it. And definitely recommend, just buy the games you want to play and love for yourself. Don't buy this stuff just because you want to show off to some random people on the internet to get that dopamine hit, because it's not going to last forever, and then you're going to get stuck with stuff you don't want, and you're going to be spending money you don't need to be spending. And video game collecting, especially in 2024, is very expensive, especially for some retro stuff, GameCube, things like that. Just buy the stuff you want to play and experience so you don't get yourself overwhelmed and become addicted to buying and collecting, and addicted to the social media aspect of showing off to other people, because it doesn't last forever, and you'll be chasing that high forever. You also don't want to fall into the trap I've seen too of people over the years, is they'll buy a bunch of stuff, they'll get burnt out, sell it off, then they'll get back onto social media, buy it all back again, and then get burnt out and sell it off, and you go through the same cycle over and over. And I've seen people who've, like, 4 or 5 different times have had collections in the past 10 years, and it's always the same thing. They love it at first, and then they go crazy buying it, then they have to sell it off for financial reasons, or they just are tired of it, and then you don't hear from them a couple months or a year, and then they're, hey, I'm back again, and they start collecting, and they start falling in that same pattern. I would hate to see anybody go down that kind of path. So let me know your guys' thoughts. Alright guys, this part I had to add back into the video because for some reason the last few minutes the audio just completely went out. So you guys saw me talking but no audio, so I have to refilm the last few minutes of this vlog here for you guys. Well, my final thing I wanted to talk about that I have seen with as far as social media and like the addiction with it is what the influence that sometimes people's videos and posts will have on the hobby and on a game. And I've got an example of one that made a game just skyrocket in price, and that was Alien Resurrection for the PlayStation 1. This has always been a fairly cheap, like $5, $10, $15 game. But then Modern Vintage Gamer, which I like his channel, he made a video talking about how he found an exploit on this game that would allow you to play burned games or import titles by doing a special exploit through it. And it just instantly made people go crazy wanting to buy this game. It was going for $200, $300, and $400 for a while. Now, I recently checked, before making this video, I was looking at the prices, and this game has finally gone down to like an $80 to $100-$150 price range, but I still think it's way too much for this game. And now my copy, the disc is perfect. The artwork in the back is great, but the manual itself, unfortunately, was water damaged at some point. Now, I bought this copy years ago for dirt cheap just because I enjoyed this game back in the day. I wanted to get it back in my collection. I actually found this at a Goodwill for pretty cheap. I think it was like $2 or $3. And I thought, it'd be really cool to get another copy of it, but I just kept thinking, oh, I'll get it later, I'll get it later. And then that video gets made, and now it's like, I'm not going to spend $100 on another copy just to get an upgrade. I wanted to have a better manual. And so now I'm not going to get it. Maybe in a few years this game will go back down to normal prices, but maybe it'll just stay at the $100 price and I won't ever be able to get it. But it's just crazy how somebody can make a video, and one person's video or post can just make people go crazy over a game, and then you get the scalpers involved and the people who want to take advantage of collectors and stuff by buying up all the copies and then relisting them for super high prices. And that's what happened with this Alien Resurrection game. It's a tough, brutal, crazy-ass hard game that I never beat. I know my buddy Dean said he beat the game, and it's fucking just tough as hell, but it's really cool, and it was just a really good first-person shooter for the PS1. And if you love the Aliens games and you love the Alien universe, I recommend the game, but only if you can get it for cheap. Don't pay the inflated crazy prices out there. But it's just a shame, though, how much of influence that our social media has had on games. Somebody makes a video of hey, here's 5 games that are under $5 that you need to have in your collection. And once people watch that video, then you'll see, go online to eBay, and an hour, 2 hours, a day later, all those games' prices just skyrocket as people are buying them up. Like, oh, hey, this game's going to become the new hot thing, so I'm just going to buy 20 copies here on eBay, and then I'm going to hoard them and resell them. And so it kind of sucks how people get greedy and want to take advantage of others. But it's crazy in that aspect of just how social media does influence our collecting. And you never heard of this game before and somebody made a video for it. Like, I like Metal Jesus Rocks videos, some of his hidden gem videos and some of his other videos talking about games, and I was like, oh cool, I never heard of that. Oh neat, he's showing gameplay of it. It's cool. I've seen other people who've done that as well, and that's how I've discovered different games that I never got a chance to play. And I've shared games in my weekly gaming playlist series with people who've told me, oh, I never heard of that game. That's cool. Cool. I'm going to add that to my list. But I don't have a following like those guys do. So if I make a video about a game, that's not, people aren't going crazy buying them up and the prices get jacked up. But that is one thing I've seen where people just like seem to just follow that whatever certain people say is like gospel. Like, oh, this guy said this game is amazing, it must be amazing. He said it's amazing, it's worth a lot of money because he said it is. And it's just crazy how we can get addicted to paying attention and listening to somebody's post or video that they make on a certain subject or game or something, which it sucks. But it's just part of, of us all being connected with the internet. And then, of course, at the end of the day, ultimately, it's all affected by supply and demand with the prices. When you have, games that are no longer being made and copies break over the years and get destroyed or thrown out, when you have a demand for a limited supply, that's where the prices are going to go up. The more people who demand something, the more it's going to demand a price for it. But as more people get away from wanting something and you have more supply than you have buyers, the prices will go down. So you just have to stick to your guns like I do. If I see a game that's super inflated in price, I might not ever pick it up. It's just something I will have to wait on getting, or maybe I might not ever get. Just stick to your guns. Don't pay the inflated scalper prices. See if you can hopefully wait it and find out. Have patience. That happened with me with, I wanted to get the, God, give me a second, guys. Having brain fog here, trying to remember what I was, Steel Battalion. So there was this really cool Steel Battalion game and controller for the original Xbox that was released years ago, and I had a chance to buy it for like $100, probably like 12 years ago now. And I just passed on it, and then when I went back the next day to that store, it was gone. And I'd always wanted to get it, but people online want, especially if it's complete in box, they want anywhere from $500, $600, $700 I saw for a copy. And I just thought, Well, it's a piece I would love to have for my collection, but I'll probably never ever get it. And a few years ago, I was actually down at one of my game stores here in my area. They're about a half hour south of here, and they had one in great condition. It was the blue button variant because there was two variants, a green one and a blue one, and they had it priced at $150. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, holy hell, I've wanted this thing forever. So I had to like contain my own excitement because I was so excited about it. I literally got it out, looked at it. You know, they test all their stuff. The guy's like, yeah, it works. And, you know, comes with it's like a 30 or 60 day warranty. And it does work. I tested it out and everything. And as soon as I saw that there, you know, I didn't even waste any time. I didn't haggle with them about like, oh, let me get a cheaper price. You know, just, that's an amazing price for that. I've wanted that for years. I'm not missing out on this. I just went right up there, paid for it, took it out to my car, put it into the trunk, locked it up, and then I went back into the store and continued doing my shopping and browsing. But I did get that, and it was because I just, you know, had patience, and so I have that in my collection. It's actually sitting, it's over down there by the game wall, but it's actually buried by boxes, which are filled with the games that I'm trading off, so I don't want to have to dig it out. But that was one thing that I got by, you know, just being patient. But that game has become really popular because people were talking about that game, and you actually can play it, I think it's through that XKai link, where people are able to actually play it through LAN, and so it's become really popular, and so a lot of people want to get it, and there was not a lot of those controllers made because it was a really expensive controller, and it's the largest controller I've ever seen in my life with all those like 40 buttons. But it's cool because you get to control a mech with this big giant controller, and it is a game I would like to play multiplayer. So once I posted about that on a Facebook group, I had several people reach out to me saying, hey, you ought to join our group sometime as we do multiplayer battles with this game. And all you need this, obviously you need the game and you have the controller. You ought to join us sometime. So I thought, you know, that'd be kind of neat, and I would look into doing that someday. But, you know, sometimes you just got to have patience, especially when you see some of these videos. But if there is something you really want, like that Spec Ops The Line, when that went up, I was so glad that my buddy Dean had mentioned that game got delisted and I didn't have my collection, and I better go grab a copy of it. So I was able to find a copy of that at my local game store for cheap. I think it was like 15 or 17 bucks or so. And I got that before they caught wind to that game being expensive. Now that game shot up to like a 200 bucks, but people didn't buy it, and it eventually settled at like a $40 and $50 range. But I'm really glad that I got that, and it was so thanks to Dean letting me know. So if there's a game out there that you really want and it's priced well, I would say, you know, pick it up. Don't wait forever on it, hoping it's going to continue to go down in price, because you never know when someone's going to make a video about it or a post about it, or it's going to get delisted or something, and it's just going to go crazy on social media and just spread quickly, and then it can just jack up the price like that. And I see that happening this year once the Xbox 360 Marketplace shuts down, and they shut down the store on July 29th. I see a lot of these physical copies of games just going up in price, and games that come with the DLC just skyrocketing in price. So that's why I'm working this year on finishing off my Xbox 360 set. I only have maybe like 30, maybe 40 more games for the 360 that I really want to add to my collection. Some of them are already pricey as it is, like Spider-Man games. There's a couple Spider-Man games that I loved that I really wish I would have bought back when they were cheap. So now I'm going to probably have to pay up the $60 to $80 they go for, but I do have a bunch of extra games to sell, and I'm going to use that money to help pay for those copies. But that's why I want to get those 360 games now before they skyrocket in price, because the 360 is getting really popular in social media, and people are really loving the console because it's an amazing console, and I love that it's getting so much attention. But that attention is also making the copies and prices go up. So I've just seen a lot of that, the effects that social media has had on my gaming and collecting. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, though. I was really glad to share my story with you guys about how my own social media and how I got addicted myself with the collecting part of it, and I started consuming and taking over myself, especially going crazy with that original Xbox and all those variants and stuff. You know, I just had to finally put a stop to it and like, okay, you know, we gotta stop this, because, you know, I don't want to start hurting my family financially by going crazy buying all this shit that I don't really need. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. So, you know, have you guys had any struggles with addiction as far as social media goes, being addicted to it, and were you guys just buying stuff just to show off to people online and keeping up because someone else was buying it? And, you know, were you buying stuff because you were watching videos or reading posts about people's pickups and it made you want to pick it up? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Feel free to leave a comment. I love reading your guys' comments, and I do appreciate all the support you guys have shown my various discussion videos over the years. Really love interacting with you guys, and I also appreciate anybody who ever takes the time to film a video response to my videos. You guys are amazing and awesome, and I loved watching them. If you guys do film a video response, I just ask, please let me know about it so I can check it out. I'm not always alerted by YouTube when my friends upload videos, even when I'm subscribed to them and I have that bell notification on. You know, YouTube's really glitchy and annoying at times and doesn't always tell people. So if you do film a video response, let me know about it. I'll check it out, and then I will post a link to your video response as a comment here on this video so other people can check it out as well. But would love to hear your guys' thoughts on today's topic about social media addiction and its effect on gaming and collecting. I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care. You guys have an amazing day, and Sleepy will see ya next time.